Morning, Andrew.
Morning, Nick.
Okay, why?
Because the city is in pretty serious trouble, it looks like to me. I think the heart of those problems is a lack of leadership. I think there are a lot of problems being ignored. I think there's a lot of issues being given priority that, in my view, aren't really the priorities for Wellington. Wellington's changed a lot in the last couple of years because of the public service cuts and the pressure on business, and we need a council that actually is respectful of that and is prepared to change course to accommodate that.
Is being a lawyer that boring, that you need some excitement in your life?
I've loved going back to the law. I've got a great bunch of colleagues, but in the end, through a lot of conversations with a lot of people from across the spectrum, I recognise that I do have a set of skills and that I think those skills are what Wellington City Council needs at this point.
Everyone's going to say the same thing that's going to go for that position. They're going to say they're going to bring the rates down. They're going to re-look at the Golden Mile, and plumbing and waterworks is going to be the most important. What makes you any different?
I think I've got a strong background and a set of experiences that means that I've got a proven track record of working with people and a whole array of people and difficult personalities. I'm a good negotiator. I can do what's best for Wellington, whether it's with other local councils over the future of Wellington Water, or whether it's with central government. I know many of the ministers. I can both have a constructive relationship when that's needed, but stand up to government when that's needed for Wellington too.
What sort of disadvantages? We've talked about it on this show for 3 years, about going into council for the first time and being mayor. Are you concerned about that?
I think what I've demonstrated, as a minister, 12 portfolios, you go into all those portfolios with not a lot of personal knowledge or deep knowledge. I very quickly come up to speed. I read everything. I talk to people. I engage with people. I think that's one of my skills too, that compared to a lot of other people in public office, I'm a good listener. And that's what I will do. I can see the problems that Wellington City has from the outside of the council. I back myself, if I'm elected, and get inside council to help sort those problems out.
What are you going to do with Golden Mile?
I know that the contracts for Courtney Place End have been let, so I'm not intending on ripping those up. I just think we have to recognise that right now, a lot of businesses, particularly hospitality and retail on that stretch, are fragile because of the loss of people, the loss of foot traffic and all the rest of it. So maybe now's not the time to be barging ahead regardless. I think we have to be sensitive to the needs.
Can we get a kind of like a real, everyone's going to want to know, is it, yes, the contract signed to do the intersection, so we'll go with that.
Yeah.
It's a halt on the Golden Mile if you become mayor.
It's see what the story is, but I don't want to barge ahead and cause disruption that's just going to put unnecessary pressure on businesses at a fragile time.
Okay.
So I expect it'll be more like rephasing it and pushing it out longer. We don't have to do it all now. We don't have to do it all quickly, and I'm almost certain a good idea. It just doesn't have to happen in a way that's going to put unnecessary pressure.
Do you
on business.
personally like the idea of the Golden Mile?
Look, I'm not wedded to it. I know that there's been a lot of consultation over it, a lot of planning, a lot of design, and maybe I've got to just have a closer look at it. What I'm more concerned about, and I get it every day, going to work and coming home from work, is just the pressure that businesses on that stretch of road are under, and they're not in a position to absorb a whole heap of disruption. We've got to be realistic about it.
Can I ask you your thoughts on social housing? I've always been an advocate for getting rid of social housing from the council. We have, the government to look after social housing. I think social housing is a very, very important part of society, but surely it should be done by the government, not by Wellington City Council. Your thoughts on that?
No, I think the council should continue to be a social housing provider. They do with Te Toi Mahana now. They do a very good job. They've got a good reputation. I think central government sort of waxes and wanes on it. And actually, we need, we've got a big homelessness problem at the moment with Wellington. So we need Te Toi Mahana and the council's social housing program to be the best it can be. But I remain firmly of the view that council does have a responsibility in that regard.
What would you have voted for? Would you have voted to sell the airport shares?
No, I wouldn't have done, because it's a big asset. It's an asset that makes a good return for Wellington. It's a monopoly, and we should retain our ownership, our partial ownership of it.
One of the things that I was thinking about yesterday was you were part of a very unpopular government at the end. You first I would think you'd admit that. Do you reckon that's going to hurt you when you actually stand for the council? Do you think people will say, oh gosh, wasn't he Jacinda Ardern's right-hand man,
The feedback I've had from people is that what they want is somebody who is used to dealing with tough issues, used to dealing with a whole bunch of people, a whole different array of ideas, who gets up to speed quickly. That's what people are looking for. I think what they see in the council at the moment is it's just not gripping up the problems as they are today. All very well, following plans that were set 3 or 4 years ago, but circumstances have changed. They want somebody who can talk and deal and engage and listen and adapt accordingly, and I bring those skills.
What's your relationship like with Tory whānau?
I've known Tori. I knew Tori when she was in Parliament. I haven't seen her for a long time. But again, look, people take on roles. Sometimes things don't work out. That maybe is what has happened here. But I'm not crushing anybody. I'm not here to eviscerate anybody. Wellington is in the situation that it's in. I look at the whole of council. I think there's a collective responsibility to go with it, and it needs a change of leadership.
Would you have redone the library?
Yeah, I think the libraries are important. I think that's an important community facility. In the end, what a city's built on, they're built on people, residents having access to good community facilities, and whether it's libraries, swimming pools, whatever, begonia houses. That's the stuff.
What is your thoughts on Begonia House? Would you pull it down, or would you?
No, I would keep it. Let's have a look, and I think there's some options about what can be done with it. But I would keep it. It's been around a long time. It's an important facility. That's a community facility that we should be keeping. You're
a very fit man. Do you cycle? Are you a cycleway fan?
I mainly mountain bike is my main cycle activity. I don't cycle. I do cycle on the cycleways, but I'm a mountain biker and a kayaker by habit.
Would you spend more money on cycleways, or would you look at them, or what's your view on them?
No, I think it's important to have a way that cyclists can move safely through the city. That's fine. I just think I do question the execution of some of them. I question Molesworth Street. I look at the stuff around the botanical gardens, and again, I think I look at the disruption that implementing them can cause. Right now, Wellington business cannot absorb a whole heap of disruption. I just think we have to be realistic about if there are more plans to do more things. Let's just think carefully about the impact on people.
Now, you're a union man, right? And I grew up with the union, so I understand union people are union people. If you look at the books with the new CEO and you realise that there's 20%, which is my gut feeling there is too many employees at the Wellington City Council, can you make 20% of them redundant? Is that in your blood?
I'm not afraid to make those hard decisions. I did as a union leader. Unions are organisations too. They've got to make their fit their budgets and stuff as well. I've been on organisations, on boards of organisations that have had to make those hard decisions. I'm not afraid to. I think it is very important that the council lives within its means, is realistic about what it is spending. We can't have a situation where over 2 years we have 30% rate increases. That's not acceptable. That's unaffordable for people. And the council has to do its bit to keep its costs under control.
Do you think that the council are presently living within their means?
Well, if I look at the level of rates increases, it just seems unrealistic. Again, this is early days. I've only just announced there'll be an opening of the council books before the election, and I'll have a close look then. But
are you a numbers guy? Are you good with numbers?
Yes, I do. I look very closely at them. Yeah,
right.
I've been through a few budget rounds, and got my numbers up, particularly as Minister of Defence.
Okay, what happens is if you get a whole lot of Green councillors around the table and you're Mayor and you're obviously Labor, you're hoping to get their endorsement. It hasn't come yet. Yeah. How are you going to deal with that?
That's, I think, a skill that I have. It goes back to my union leader days and union negotiation days. I can deal with people with diametrically opposite views and come to a conclusion that we can all agree with. It takes effort on both sides, compromise on both sides. But that's a skill I bring. I don't shrink from disagreement or conflict. I'm happy to operate with disagreement and conflict. The main thing for me is to get an outcome that everybody lives with. That's what I focus on.
Do you get excited by much? Do you an excitable type of guy? I've never seen you smile or laugh at every time I've seen you. Can you be a fun mayor for a fun city?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can be, but also, public office and running a city is a responsible task. I think what people are looking for is a bit of a serious approach, not an approach lacking humour or fun, but a serious approach to the problems that we've got. I will bring that to it. I'm quite capable of having fun and making a joke on myself as well.
Okay, are you a business-friendly leader?
Yes, I think I can deal with business. Even as a union leader, I have this thing. Like, you've got to work with people, and the way you serve workers' best interests is to have the best relationship you can with an employer. Workers want to know their job is safe and secure. They want to be paid as best as they can, but they want to know the business is going to survive and is doing well. And as a union leader, that's what you've got to focus on. As mayor, I've got to focus on the business community as much as anything else, because that's what's going to keep the city going.
Give me the scenario, your first day at work. What do you think you're going to do? What would you do? What would be the first thing you do when you go into that office?
I think I send a couple of very clear signals particularly to the chief executive and the senior officers about my expectations, about having good quality information, and also, as the local government act says, the mayor leads. The mayor leads. And then
have you met the CEO? Have you met the new CEO?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay.
No.
Will you do that beforehand?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what's appropriate at this point. And he won't want to compromise himself. He's got to work with whoever might become mayor.
Right. Are you running for council as well, or straight mayor?
Just a mayor. Yeah.
Okay. You know what my final question is? Very serious question.
You're doing right. No, you tell me.
Okay. My final question is: Taranaki are playing Wellington at rugby. Who do you support? And I'll tell you who I support if you ask me.
If I'm the mayor of Wellington, it has to be Wellington. My heart still...
That disappoints me.
A large chunk still sits in Taranaki.
That disappoints me because I left Taranaki when I was 8 years old. You know who I'd support?
Taranaki.
Never, ever wavered. Never, ever wavered.
I was really disappointed. The thing that really disappointed me most about when Taranaki went off to the Chiefs franchise and didn't stick with the Hurricanes franchise, that challenged me. I've stuck with the Hurricanes. I'm a big supporter of the Hurricanes. I was really disappointed that Taranaki took off.
Thanks for coming in.